I cannot understand why we idle discussing religion. If we are honest, and scientists have to be, we must admit that religion is a jumble of false assertions with no basis in reality. The very idea of God is a product of the human imagination. It is quite understandable why primitive people, who were so much more exposed to the overpowering forces of nature than we are today, should have personified these forces in fear and trembling. But nowadays, when we understand so many natural processes, we have no need for such solutions. I can't for the life of me see how the postulate of an almighty God helps us in any way. What I do see is that this assumption leads to such unproductive questions as to why God allows so much misery and injustice, the exploitation of the poor by the rich, and all the other horrors he might have prevented. If religion is still being taught, it is by no means because its ideas still convince us, but simply because some of us want to keep the lower classes quiet. Quiet people are much easier to govern than clamorous and dissatisfied ones. They are also much easier to exploit. Religion is a kind of opium that allows a nation to lull itself into wishful dreams and so forget the injustices that are being perpetrated against the people. Paul Dirac, 1927, as related by Werner Heisenberg. So, you see what I'm saying here?
Yep, this one doesn't fit either.
How would you characterize the way in which it doesn't fit?
Well, it's about arguing, and it's about being greatly disturbed by issues that are relatively small. It's not even high, and it's not about ultimate truth, not really. It's mostly about what some stupid people are doing that is wrong compared to what I am doing that is right.
But Paul Dirac was definitely a truth seeker in the domain of physics, at least.
Yeah, but I don't feel that attitude in this piece at all. If a belief is just formed in opposition to other beliefs, it can't be fundamental? It can't be that deep. But, you know, where he says the thing about natural processes, he starts to outline an actual philosophy.
Interesting. There's something that could stand on its own, that isn't just rejection and opposition. But then he drops it. Well, this isn't the atheist manifesto we need. I'll keep looking.
Okay.
You know, at one point Dirac also wrote this. One could perhaps describe the situation by saying that God is a mathematician of a very high order, and he used very advanced mathematics in constructing the universe. I think he meant God in an Einstein kind of way.
He said that? Same guy.
Same guy. Later in life, though. Yeah, people are strange. Scientists are stranger.
Yes, they are.
Так, отлично. У меня остался последний геморрой. Его нужно максимально адекватно решить. Так, хорошо. Так. Готово. Окей. Готово. Победа! Аплодисменты! Я тебя добил. И это все, ради чего я тут долбился. Не знаю, сколько часов тут долбился, но я тебя додолбил. Проблема была в основном с двумя треугольниками. Я, как всегда, с единичными упирался в стенку, как говорится. Так, я пока что не знаю, что я буду делать. Естественно, я сейчас зарисую. Это божественное создание. И мы сейчас отправимся к мельнице. А может быть не к мельнице. Хрен знает. Так как непонятно, что тут еще можно сделать. Это, скорее всего, не конец Оля картинки. И движуха будет продолжаться и дальше. Так. У меня тут места нет, как говорится, на листке. Ну, я тут более-менее впихиваю. Она, кстати, очень длинная. Я смотрю. Прям капец какая длинная. Но не бьет рекорды. Так что особо тут радоваться нечему по длине. Все, я записал на божественный листочек. Это великое место. Вот эта головоломка выполняется за 5 минут. То есть, если меньше, то это полная задница будет. Да. Ой, как я сюда не хочу возвращаться. Но я надеюсь, она запомнилась насмерть. Прям жестко. Чтобы перезапусков не было. Вот тут все я прокликал. Вроде бы ничего не остается. Так что мы эту полную задницу можем покидать. Она очень сложная. Тут да, не только сами головоломки хардкорные, но еще и позиционирование их не хардкорное. А они могут в разных местах появляться. И это очень сильно осложняло всю картинку. Верхний, кстати, вот это чисто так, для декора. Так, ладно. Я, скорее всего, сейчас отправлюсь в мельницу. Ну тут что-то еще должно быть. Я где-то что-то упускаю. Так как хоть это и была королевская головоломка. Но тут да. Так, куда мне идти дальше? Тут так темно. Я даже ничего толком не вижу. Ура, улица! Ура, свобода! Я несказанно рад. Сейчас буду долбить непосредственно мельницу. И потом искать остатки. Сейчас, по идее, еще ультра какая-то секретная головоломка должна быть. Прям ультра. Ультра-ультра. Но вот это уже секретик был тоже ультровский. По-другому его не назвать. Кряхтел, пыхтел. Но он все-таки добил. Так, опять эти темные приключения. Я до сих пор тут еще не дошел до второго этажа. Вот там как раз открывается доступ ко второму этажу. А как попасть, я еще не понял. Так, теперь. Но позиционирование у меня правильно. Так. Так. Аплодисменты. Успех. Конец. Что нам сейчас покажут? Она длинная, кстати. Она капец какая длинная. Ну, в принципе, как и, собственно говоря, О, да.
The sun. To stand one day in the shadow of the moon is one of my humble goals in life. The closest I ever came was over 30 years ago. On February 26th, 1979, a solar eclipse passed directly over the city of Portland.
О, кажется,
I bought my bus
есть таргет.
tickets and found a place to stay, but in the end, I couldn't get the time off work. Well, anyone who lives in Portland can tell you that the chances of catching the sun in February are pretty slim. And sure enough, the skies over the city that day were completely overcast. I wouldn't have seen a thing. That work I couldn't get out of was my first job out of college. A sales clerk at an old Radio Shack store in beautiful downtown Worcester, Massachusetts. On my very first day behind the counter, a delivery truck pulled up to the front of the store. They carried in a big carton, upon which was printed the legend TRS-80. It was our floor sample of the world's first mass-market microcomputer. The TRS-80 Model 1 had a Z80 processor clocked at 1.7 MHz, 4,096 bytes of memory, and a 64-character black and white text display. The only storage was a cassette recorder. All this could be yours for the low, low price of $599. This store I was working in had seen better days. At one time, it had been near the center of a thriving commercial district. But like so many other New England cities, the advent of shopping malls had, by the early 70s, turned it into a ghost town. Worcester's solution to this problem was decisive, to say the least. The city's elders apparently decided that if they couldn't beat them, they would join them. And so, several square blocks at the heart of the city were bulldozed into oblivion, destroying dozens of family businesses, including the site of a pharmacy once operated by my great-grandfather. In their place was erected a vast 3-level shopping complex, with cinemas and a food court. When the dust settled, only a few forlorn blocks of the old Worcester remained standing. My Radio Shack store was in one of those blocks. Then, to add insult to injury, Radio Shack opened a brand new location inside the shopping center, less than 500 feet from my store. So now patrons have a choice between a clean, well-lighted establishment with uniformed security and acres of convenient parking, or a shadowy hole in a seedy old office building next to an adult movie theater. Consequently, I had plenty of time to fool around with the new computer. I taught myself basic programming. Then I learned Z80 assembly. Both, of course, so that I could write games. I also created self-running animated demos, which ran all night in the store window for the edification of the winos who peed in our doorway. Strangely enough, the few customers we had didn't seem to be interested in our new computer, even after the 16K memory upgrade. In fact, most of the people who set off the buzzer on their way through the front door weren't there to buy anything at all. They were there to exploit a free promotion, which was the bane of Radio Shack employees for over 40 years. The Battery of the Month Club. The idea of this promotion was simple. Customers got a little red card upon which was printed a square for each month. 12 times a year, the lucky sales clerk got to punch out a square and give the customer one brand new AAA, AA, C, D, or 9-volt battery. Of course, customers weren't allowed to choose just any grade of battery. At the time of my employment, Radio Shack offered 3 different levels of battery excellence. First were the alkalines, powerful, long-lasting, and expensive, hanging behind the counter like prescription medication in gold-embossed blister packs. These were most certainly not available through the Battery of the Month Club. Next were the high-end lead batteries, sturdy, dependable batteries, moderately priced, and prominently displayed near the front of the store. These were also not available through the Battery of the Month Club. Finally, at the bottom of the barrel were the standard lead batteries. These were literally piled in barrels, cunningly located way at the back of the store, in a dark corner near the TV antennas. Remember TV antennas? Customers who came in looking for their free Battery of the Month had to walk the entire length of the premises, past the CB radios and stereo headphones and remote-controlled racing cars. Nothing would stop them. On the first day of every month, like clockwork, those customers came in waving their little red cards. I would look up from my programming and wave them to the back of the store. It didn't matter that the batteries were only worth 29 cents. It didn't matter that most of them were already half dead. They came, they grabbed. And as far as I can remember, not one of them ever paid for a damn thing. I was such a crappy salesman. I was young and foolish. I thought my education in game design was happening at the keyboard. I almost missed the lesson coming through the front door. Fortunately, I wasn't the only person fooling around with games on micros. All over the country, people like me were experimenting. Scott Adams was coding what would soon become the world's first commercial adventure game. Remember adventure games? My future employer, Infocom, was being founded, along with other legendary companies like Online Systems, Sirius, Personal Software, and SSI. Those were exciting times. Teenagers were making fortunes. Games were cheap and easy to build. The slate was clean. But in 1979, the biggest news in gaming had nothing to do with computers. On the morning of the autumn equinox, September 20th, a new children's picture book appeared in the stores of Great Britain. This picture book was rather peculiar. It consisted of 15 meticulously detailed color paintings, illustrating a slight whimsical tale about a rabbit delivering a jewel to the moon. On the back jacket of the book was a color photograph of a real jewel, shaped like a running rabbit, 5 inches long, fashioned of 18-karat gold, suspended with ornaments and bells, together with a sun and moon of blue quartz. According to the blurb underneath, this very jewel had been buried somewhere in England. Clues pointing to its location were concealed in the text and in the pictures of the book. The treasure would belong to whoever found it first. The book was called Masquerade. It was created by an eccentric little man with divergent eyes and a talent for mischief named Kit Williams. Within days, the first printing was sold out, and the empire that never sleeps found itself in the grip of rabbit fever. Excited readers attacked the paintings with rulers, compasses, and protractors. Magazine articles and TV specials dissected the clues, floated theories, and followed with keen delight the reckless exploits of the fanatics. One obscure park, unfortunately known by the nickname Rabbit Hill, was so riddled with holes excavated by misguided treasure seekers that the authorities had to erect signs assuring the public that no gold rabbits were to be found there. Some hunters ended up seeking psychological counseling for their obsession. The craze leapt over the Atlantic Ocean and invaded America, France, Italy, and Germany. It sold over 1 million copies in a few months, a record unrivaled by any children's title until the advent of Harry Potter. Over 150,000 copies were sold in foreign translations, including 80,000 copies in Japanese, despite the